Stupid question. I've been ready since Christ was a corporal. Are you rolling? Hey. Alright. We're wrapping up this part. But it's been a long night. Been a lot of changes. A lot of things working behind the scenes that you guys haven't seen. But there's one thing that's still true. And that is the puppet's been drinking. We've been going through obstruction of justice charges. And if that don't get you drinking, I don't know what will. So, if you'll excuse me for just a second. We rolling? Jeez. I don't know about this place. Okay. We're rolling. Okay. What? What? The glass? Oh. Johnny, can you get the glass out of the shot? Got a shot glass in the shot. That's kind of funny. Cool. Okay, here we go. Where are we? Where are we? Oh yeah, I remember now. K. The president's conduct involving Michael Cohen. Overview. President's conduct involving Michael Cohen spans the full period of our investigation. During the campaign, Cohen pursued the Trump Tower Moscow project on behalf of the Trump Organization. Cohen briefed candidate Trump on the project numerous times, including discussing whether Trump should travel to Russia to advance the deal. After the media began questioning Trump's connections to Russia, Cohen promoted a party line that publicly distanced Trump from Russia and asserted that he had no business there. Cohen continued to adhere to that party line in 2017 when Congress asked him to provide documents and testimony in its Russia investigation. In an attempt to minimize the president's connections to Russia, Cohen submitted a letter to Congress falsely stating that he only briefed Trump on the Trump Tower Moscow project 3 times, that he did not consider asking Trump to travel to Russia, and that Cohen had not received a response to an outreach he made to the Russian government, and that the project ended in January 2016 before the first Republican caucus or primary. While working on the congressional statement, Trump had an extensive discussion with the president's personal counsel, who, according to Cohen, said that Cohen should not contradict the president and should keep the statement short and tight. After the FBI searched Cohen's home and office in April 2018, the president publicly asserted that Cohen would not flip and privately passed messages of support to him. Cohen also discussed pardons with the president's personal counsel and believed that if he stayed on message, he would get a pardon and the president would do something else, quote unquote, to make the investigation end. But after Cohen began cooperating with the government in July 2018, the president publicly criticized him, calling him a rat, and suggested his family members had committed crimes. So he called him a rat and suggested his family members had committed crimes. I got it. Evidence. 1. Candidate Trump's awareness of and involvement in the Trump Tower Moscow project. The president's interactions with Cohen as a witness took place against the background of the president's involvement in the Trump Tower Moscow project. As described in detail in Volume 1, Section 4A1 Supra from September 2015 until at least June 2016, the Trump Organization pursued a Trump Tower Moscow project in Russia, with negotiations conducted by Cohen, then Executive Vice President of the Trump Organization and Special Counsel to Donald J. Trump. The Trump Organization had previously long footnote here. Punk pleaded guilty to multiple crimes. Oh no, reading ahead. Unsuccessfully pursued a building project in Moscow. According to Cohen, in approximately September 2015, he obtained an internal approval from Trump to negotiate on behalf of the Trump Organization to have a Russian corporation build a tower in Moscow that licensed the Trump name and brand. Cohen, thereafter, had numerous brief conversations with Trump about the project. Cohen recalled that Trump wanted to be updated on any developments with the Trump Tower Moscow, and on several occasions brought the project up with Cohen and asked what was happening with it. What's happening with it? Cohen also discussed the project on multiple occasions with Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka Trump. In the fall of 2015, Trump signed a letter of intent for the project that specified highly lucrative terms for the Trump Organization. In December 2015, Felix Sater, who was handling negotiations between Trump and the Russia Corporation, asked Cohen for a copy of his and Trump's passports to facilitate travel to Russia to meet with government officials and possible financing partners. Cohen recalled discussing the trip with Trump and requesting a copy of Trump's passport from Trump's personal secretary, Rona Graff. By January 2016, Cohen had become frustrated that Sater had not set up a meeting with Russian government officials. So Cohen reached out directly by email to the office of Dmitry. Not Dmitry. We read about this. Peskov, who was Putin's deputy chief of staff and press secretary. On January 20th, 2016, Cohen received an email response from Elena Polyakova, Peskov's personal assistant, and phone records confirmed that they then spoke for approximately 20 minutes, during which Cohen described the Trump Tower Moscow project and requested assistance in moving the project forward. Cohen recalled briefing candidate Trump about the call soon afterwards. Cohen told Trump he spoke with a woman he identified as someone from the Kremlin. And Cohen reported that she was very professional and asked detailed questions about the project. Cohen recalled telling Trump he wished the Trump Organization had assistants who were as competent as the woman from the Kremlin. Cool. Cohen thought his phone call renewed interest in the project. The day after Cohen's call with Polyakova, Sater texted Cohen asking him to email me when you have a few minutes to chat. It's about Putin. They called today. Sater told Cohen that the Russian government liked the project. And on January 25th, 2016, sent an invitation for Cohen to visit Moscow for a working visit. After the outreach from Sater, Cohen recalled telling Trump that he was waiting to hear back on moving the project forward. After January 2016, Cohen continued to have conversations with Sater about the Trump Tower Moscow and continued to keep candidate Trump updated about those discussions and the status of the project. Cohen recalled that he and Trump wanted Trump Tower Moscow to succeed, and that Trump never discouraged him from working on the project because of the campaign. In March or April 2016, Trump asked Cohen if anything was happening in Russia. Cohen also recalled briefing Donald Trump Jr. There's Jr. again. In the spring, a conversation that Cohen said was not idle chit-chat because Trump Tower Moscow was a potentially $1 billion deal. $1 billion deal. Cohen recalled that around May 2016, he again raised with candidate Trump the possibility of a trip to Russia to advance the Trump Tower Moscow project. At that time, Cohen had received several texts from senators seeking to arrange dates for such a trip. On May 4th, 2016, Senator wrote to Cohen, "I had a chat with Moscow. Assuming the trip does happen, the question is before or after the conversation." No. On May 4th, 2016, Senator wrote to Cohen, "I had a chat with Moscow. Assuming the trip does happen, the question is before or after the convention." The convention, not the conversation. The convention. Obviously, the pre-meeting trip, you only can happen anytime you want, but the two big guys is the question. I said I would confirm and revert. Cohen responded, "My trip before Cleveland, Trump, once he became a nominee after the convention." I had trouble in Cleveland. On May 6, 2016, Senator followed up with a text. A text that Cohen thought he probably read to Trump. You know, I played the Trump drinking game. You watch one of his impromptu press conferences and you take a shot every time he lies. Sater followed up with a text that Cohen thought he probably read to Trump. It goes like this. I swear. Peskov would like to invite you to as his guest to the St. Petersburg Forum, which is Russia's Davos. It's June 16th to the 19th. He wants to meet there with you and possibly introduce you to either Putin or Medvedev. This is perfect. It's perfect. The entire business class of Russia will be there as well. Many oligarchs. He said anything you want to discuss, including dates and subjects, are on the table for discussion. Cohen recalled discussing the invitation to discuss to the St. Petersburg Economic Forum with candidate Trump, and saying that Putin or Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev might be there. Cohen remembered that Trump said he would be willing to travel to Russia if Cohen could lock and load on the deal. In June 2016, Cohen decided not to attend the St. Petersburg Economic Forum because Sater had not obtained a formal invitation for Cohen from Peskov. That's kind of a stupid reason. Economic Forum because Sater had not obtained a formal from Peskov. Oh yeah, we read that already. Cohen said he had a quick conversation with Trump at that time, but not tell him that the project was over because he did not want Trump to complain that the deal was on again, off again if it were revived. I understand now. During summer of 2016, Cohen recalled that candidate Trump publicly claimed he had nothing to do with Russia, and then shortly afterwards privately checked with Cohen about status of Trump Tower Moscow project, which Cohen found interesting. At some point, At some point, I was like, what? Oh, I sorry. Sometime, when I drink, my real voice come out. It's like, Nicole Kidman. Sometimes she sounds like Australian. Cause she is Australian. It's okay. We go on, yeah? Corn. Many footnotes. Last summer, Cohen having brief conversation with Trump, in which Cohen said Trump Tower and Moscow project was going nowhere because Russian development company had not secured a piece of property for the project. Trump said that was too bad. Cohen did not recall talking with Trump about project after that. I'm sorry. Cohen said Cohen said no time during the campaign. Trump told him not to pursue the project, or the project should be abandoned. I mean, it's abandoned. Yes, abandoned. Not be abandoned. 2. Something is wrong here. Yeah? You get the score to work. Yeah? I get it. Okay. 2. Cohen determined to adhere to party line distancing candidate Trump from Moscow, from Russia. No, Moscow is Russia. It's my bad. My very bad. As previously discussed, the Volume 2, Section 2A Supra, when questions about possible Russian support for candidate Trump emerged during 2016 presidential campaign, Trump denied having any personal, financial, or business connection to Russia, which Cohen described as the party line or message to follow for Trump and his senior advisors. After the election, the Trump organization sought to formally close out certain deals in advance of inauguration. Cohen recorded Trump Tower in Moscow on a list of deals to be closed out. In approximately January 2017, Cohen began receiving inquiries from the media about Trump Tower in Moscow. And he was called speaking to the president-elect when those inquiries came in. Yeah. Cohen was concerned that truthful answers about the Trump Tower in Moscow project might not be consistent with message, quote unquote, that the president-elect have no relationship with Russia. In an effort to stay on message, Cohen told a New York Times reporter that the Trump Tower Moscow deal was not feasible and it ended in July 2016. Cohen recalled that this was part of a script. What talking points he had developed with President-elect Trump and others many footnotes. Cohen is footnote. He in jail too. Dismiss idea of substantial connection between Trump and Moscow. Oh no, Russia. Not Moscow, is Russia. I have many drinks tonight. The puppet has been drinking. Cohen said he discussed the talking point between Trump with Trump, but he did not explicitly tell Trump he thought they were untrue because Trump already knew they were untrue. Cohen thought it was important to say the deal was done in January 2016 rather than acknowledge that talks continued in May and June 2016 because it limited in the period when candidate Trump could be alleged to have a relationship with Russia to an early point in the campaign, before Trump had become the party's presumptive nominee. Yeah. You get all that, yeah? Yeah. I get, you get, we all get, yeah? Cohen, three for Cohen. Cohen submits false statements to Congress, minimizing the Trump Tower Moscow project in accordance with party line. In early May 2017, Cohen received requests from Congress to provide testimony and document in connection with congressional investigation of Russian interference in 2016 election. At that time, Cohen understood Congress's interest in him to be focused on the allegation in the Steele reporting concerning a meeting Cohen had allegedly had with Russian officials in Prague during the campaign. Cohen had never traveled to Prague and was not concerned about those allegations which he believed were provably false. In May 18, 2017, Cohen met with the president to discuss the request from Congress, and the president instructed Cohen that he should cooperate because there was nothing there. Cohen eventually entered into a Joint Defense Agreement, JDA, with the president and other individuals who were part of a Russia investigation. In the months leading up to his congressional testimony, Cohen frequently spoke with the president's personal counsel. Cohen, man of many footnotes, said that in those conversations, the president's personal counsel would sometimes say that he had just been with the president. Cohen recalled that the president's personal counsel told him that the JDA was working well together and assured him there was nothing there, and if they stayed on message, the investigations would come to an end soon. And sadly, Cohen now in jail. At that time, Cohen's legal bills were being paid by the Trump mobilization, and Cohen was told not to worry because the investigations will be over by summer or fall of 2017. Cohen said that the president's personal counsel also conveyed that as part of the JDA, Cohen was protected, in which he would not be if he, quote, went rogue, unquote. Went rogue. Cohen recalled that the president's personal counsel reminded him that the president loved you. Oh, but in the same way he loved the Stormy Daniels. And told him that if he stayed on message, the president had his back. Oh, guess it was like this, Stormy Daniels. In August 2017, Cohen began drafting statement about Trump Tower in Moscow to submit to Congress along with his document production. The final version of statement contained several false statements about the project. First, although the Trump organization continued to pursue the project until at least June 2016, the statement said The proposal was under consideration at the Trump Organization from September 2015 until the end of January 2016. By the end of 2016, I determined that proposal was not feasible for a variety of business reasons and should not be pursued further. Based on my business determination, he's a smart guy on the business determination, the Trump Organization abandoned the project, except they did not. Second, although Cohen and candidate Trump had discussed possible travel to Russia by Trump to pursue the venture, the statement said, despite overtures by Mr. Tater, I never considered asking Mr. Trump to travel to Russia unless there was a definitive agreement in place. Third, although Cohen had regularly briefed Trump on status, on the status. It's so hard with a definite article, The status. I try. But maybe another day? No. No. No! It's empty. Of the project. And had numerous conversations about it. The statement said, Mr. Trump was never in contact with anyone about this proposal other than me on 3 occasions, including signing a non-binding letter of intent in 2015. Fourth, although Cohen's outreach to Peskov in January of 2016 had resulted in a lengthy phone call with a representative from the Kremlin. The statement said that Mr. Cohen did not recall any response to my email to Peskov nor any other contacts by me with Mr. Peskov or other Russian government officials about the proposal. Cohen's statement was circulated in advance to and edited by members of the JDA. Before the statement was finalized, early drafts contained a sentence stating, "The building project led me to make limited contacts with Russian government officials." In the final version of the statement, that line was deleted. Cohen thought he was told that it was the decision of the JDA to take out that sentence, and he did not push back on the deletion. Cohen recalled that he told the president's personal counsel that he would not contest the decision of the JDA. Cohen also recalled that in drafting his statement for Congress, he spoke with the president's personal counsel about a different issue that connected candidate Trump to Russia. Cohen's efforts to set up a meeting between Trump and Putin in New York during the 2015 United Nations General Assembly. In September 2015, Cohen had suggested the meeting to Trump, who told Cohen to reach out to Putin's office about it. Cohen spoke and emailed with a Russian official about a possible meeting and recalled that Trump had asked him multiple times for an update on the proposed meeting with Putin. When Cohen called the Russian official a second time, she told him it would not follow a proper protocol for Putin to meet with Trump, and Cohen relayed that. He relayed that message to Trump. Cohen anticipated he might be asked questions about the proposed Trump-Putin meeting when he testified before Congress because he had talked about the potential meeting on Sean Hannity's radio show. What's that Sean Hannity guy again? Cohen recalled explaining to Trump's personal counsel the whole story of the attempt to set up a meeting between Trump and Putin and Trump's role in it. Cohen recalled that he and the president's personal counsel talked about keeping Trump out of the narrative. And the president's personal counsel told Cohen the story was not relevant and should not be included in his statement to Congress. Cohen said that his agenda, quote unquote, in submitting the statement to Congress with false representations about the Trump Tower Moscow project was to minimize links between the project and the president, giving the false impression that the project had ended before the first presidential primaries and shut down further inquiry into Trump Tower Moscow with the aim of limiting the ongoing Russia investigations. Cohen said he wanted to protect the president and be loyal to him by not contradicting anything the president had said. Cohen recalled that he was concerned that if he told the truth about getting a response from the Kremlin or speaking to candidate Trump about travel to Russia to pursue the project, he would contradict the message that no connection existed between Trump and Russia, and he rationalized that his decision to provide false testimony because that deal never happened. He was not concerned that the story would be contradicted by individuals who knew it was false because he was sticking to the party line that adhered to by the whole group. Yeah. Everybody, the whole group. Cohen wanted the support of the president in the White House, and he believed that following the party line would help put an end to the special counsel and congressional investigations. Well, that's smart. Can I have a drink? Between August 18, 2017, when the statement was in the initial draft stage, and August 28, 2017, when the statement was submitted to Congress, phone records reflect that Cohen spoke with the president's personal counsel almost daily. On August 27, 2017, the day before Cohen, that would be Cohen submitted the statement to Congress. It was his statement, but it's the statement here. Cohen and the president's personal counsel had numerous contacts by phone, including calls lasting 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 18 minutes. 18 minutes? 18 minutes? Oh. Oh, thank you, Bobby. Bless you. 18 minutes, no. Including calls lasting 3, 4, 6, 11, and 18 minutes. Think about that. Think about that. 3, 4, 6, 11, and 18 minutes. Think about that. What? Oh, Johnny, get the glass out of the shop. Cohen recalled telling the president's personal counsel, who did not have first-hand knowledge of the project, that there was more detail on Trump Tower Moscow that was not in the statement, including that there were more communications with Russia and more communications with candidate Trump than the statement reflected. Cohen stated that the president's personal counsel responded it was not necessary to elaborate or include those details because the project did not progress and Cohen should keep his statement short and tight, and the matter would soon come to an end. Cohen recalled that the president's personal counsel said his client appreciated Cohen, that Cohen should stay on message and not contradict the president, that there was no need to muddy the water and it was time to move on. Cohen said he agreed because it was what he was expected to do. After Cohen pleaded guilty to making false statements to Congress about Trump Tower Moscow project, his office sought to speak with President's personal counsel about the conversation with Cohen, but counsel declined, citing potentially privileged concern. At the same time, Cohen finalized his written submission to Congress. He served as a source for a Washington Post story published on August 27, 2017, that report in depth for the first time that the Trump organization was pursuing a plan to develop a massive Trump Tower in Moscow. At the same time as candidate Trump was running for president in late 2015 and early 2016. Article reported that project was abandoned at end of January 2016, just before the presidential primary began. Several people familiar with proposals say. Cohen recalled that in speaking to the Post, he held to false story that the negotiation for deal ceased in January 2016. Oh yeah. He's a good man, Cohen. On August 28, 2017 now, is later, this is 2017. Cohen submitted his statement about the President Trump Tower Moscow project to Congress. Cohen did not recall talking to President Trump about specifics of the statement or what Cohen would later testify to about Trump Tower in Moscow. He recalls speaking to the president more generally about how he planned to stay on message in his testimony. On September 19, 2017, in anticipation of his impending testimony, Cohen orchestrated the public release of his opening remark to Congress, which criticized the allegations in the Steele material and claimed that the Trump Tower Moscow project was terminated in January of 2016, which occurred before the Iowa caucus and months before the very first primary. Cohen said the release of opening remark was intended to shape the narrative and let other people know who might be witnesses know what Cohen was saying so they could follow the same message. Yeah. Cohen said his decision was meant to mirror Jared Kushner's decision to release a statement in advance of Kushner's congressional testimony in which the president's personal counsel told Cohen the president liked. Cohen recalled that on September 20, 2017, after Cohen's opening remark had been printed by the media, the president's personal counsel told him the president was pleased with the Trump Tower in Moscow's statement that had been going out. On October 24 and 25, 2017, Cohen testified before Congress and repeated the false statements he had included in his written statements about Trump Tower in Moscow. Following records show that Cohen spoke with the president's personal counsel immediately after his testimony on both days. 4. The president sends message of support to Cohen. In January of 2018, the media reported that Cohen had arranged a $130,000 payment during the campaign to prevent a woman from publicly discussing alleged sexual encounter she had with the president before he ran for office. This being an alleged sexual encounter where she described his dick and stuff. These officers did not investigate Cohen's campaign period payment to women. However, those events, as described here, are potentially relevant to the president and his personal counsel's interaction with Cohen as a witness, who later began to cooperate with government. On February 13, 2018, Cohen released a statement to a news organization that stated in a private transaction in 2016, I used my own personal funds to facilitate payment of $130,000 to the woman. Neither Trump organization nor the Trump campaign was a party to the transaction with the woman. We all know this other woman. We all seen the woman. Yeah, you seen the woman? I seen the woman. That woman, she hot. Yeah. Where do we go? Neither reimburse me for the payment either directly or indirectly. In congressional testimony on February 27, 2019, Cohen testified that he had discussed what to say about the payment with the president, that the president directed Cohen to say the president was not knowledgeable. Which is reasonable because he's not knowledgeable about so much of Cohen's actions in making the payment. On February 19, 2018, the day after the New York Times wrote a detailed story attributing the payment to Cohen and describing Cohen as president's fixer. He's a fixer. Cohen received a text message from the president's personal counsel that stated, client says, thanks for what you do. Thanks for what you do. Now go to jail. On April 9, 2018, the FBI agents working with U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York executed search warrants on Cohen's home, hotel room, and office. That day, the president spoke to a reporter and said that he had just heard they broke into the office of one of my personal attorneys. A good man. Another good man. Like the Flynn, like the Manafort. The president called the searches a real disgrace and said it's an attack on our country, and the true sense is an attack on what we all have many footnotes. I don't read the footnotes. Oh no. We go to Johnny, you fix this, yeah? Yeah, you fix this. With the president before he ran for office. This office, my office. No, their office, not my office. Did not investigate Cohen's campaign payments to women. However, I think we read this already. We read this. We read more. Stand for. Stand for. What do you stand for? Cohen said after the searches he was concerned that he was an open book and he did not want issues arising from payments to women to come out. And that his false statements to Congress were a big concern. A few days after the searches, the president called Cohen. According to Cohen, the president said he wanted to, quote-unquote, check in and asked if Cohen was okay, and the president encouraged Cohen to hang in there and stay strong. Cohen also recalled that following the searches, he heard from individuals who were in touch with the president and related to Cohen's president's support for him. Cohen recalled, oh no, he's black. He's black. A friend of president's reached out to say that he was with the boss. The boss, but not my big boss. No, just the boss. In Mar-a-Lago. And the president had said, he love you. Oh, but not like in that, Stormy Daniel way. And not to worry. Cohen recalled, black. For the Trump organization told him the boss loves you. And Cohen said that, more black. A friend of the president's told him everyone knows the boss has your back. On or about April 17, 2018, Cohen began speaking with an attorney, Robert Costello, who had a close relationship with Rudolph Giuliani, one of the president's personal lawyers. Costello told Cohen that he had a back channel of communication to Giuliani, and that Giuliani had said the channel was crucial and must be maintained. On April 20th, 2018, the New York Times published an article about the president's relationship and treatment of Cohen. The president responded with a series of tweets predicting that Cohen would not flip. New York Times and a third-rate reporter are going out of their way to destroy Michael Cohen and his relationship with me in the hopes that he will flip. They use non-existent sources and a drunk, drugged-up loser. Where'd they find him? Who hates Michael, a fine person with a wonderful family. Michael is a businessman, for his own account lawyer, who I have always liked and respected. Most people will flip if the government lets them out of trouble, even lets them out of trouble, even if it means lying or making up stories. Sorry, I don't see Michael doing that despite the horrible witch hunt and dishonest media. In an email that day to Cohen, Costello wrote he had spoken with Giuliani. Costello called Cohen. The conversation was very, very positive. You are loved. There in our corner. Sleep well tonight. You have friends in high places. And now he in jail. Cohen said that following these messages, he had the support of the White House if he continued to toe the party line, and he determined to stay on message and be part of the team. At the time, Cohen understood that his legal fees were still being paid by the Trump organization, which he said was important to him. Cohen believed he needed the power of the president to take care of him. So he needed to defend the president and stay on message. Cohen also recalled that with the president's personal counsel about Cohen also recalled speaking with the president's personal counsel about pardons after the searches of his home and office occurred at a time when media reported that the pardon discussions were occurring at the White House. Cohen told the president's personal counsel he had been a loyal lawyer and servant, and he said that after the searches he was in an uncomfortable position and wanted to know what was in it for him. According to Cohen, the president's personal counsel responded that Cohen should stay on message, that the investigation was a witch hunt, and everything would be fine. Cohen understood, based on this conversation and previous messages and conversations about pardons with the president's personal counsel, that as long as he stayed on message, he would be taken care of by the president, either through pardon or through the investigation being shut down. Footnotes. Many footnotes. On April 24th, 2018, President responded to reporters' inquiry whether he should consider a pardon for Manafort with, stupid question. On June 8, 2018, the president said he hadn't even thought about pardons for Manafort or Cohen and continued, it's far too early to be thinking about that. They haven't been convicted of anything. There's nothing to pardon. And on June 15, 2018, the president expressed sympathy for Cohen, Manafort, and Flynn in a press interview and said, I feel badly about a lot of them because I think a lot of it is very unfair. 5. Very wrong. The president's conduct after Cohen began cooperating with government. On July 2nd, 2018, ABC News reported based on an exclusive interview with Cohen that Cohen strongly signaled his willingness to cooperate with Special Counsel Robert Mueller and federal prosecutors in the Southern District of New York, even if that puts President Trump in jeopardy. That week, the media reported that Cohen had added an attorney to his legal team who had previously worked as a legal advisor to President Bill Clinton. That's interesting. Beginning on July 20th, 2018, the media reported on the existence of a recording Cohen had made of a conversation he had with candidate Trump about a payment made to a second woman who said she had an affair with Trump. On July 21st, 2018, the president responded, "Inconceivable that the government would break into a lawyer's office early in the morning. And almost unheard of. Even more inconceivable that a lawyer would tape a client, totally unheard of and perhaps illegal. The good news is your favorite president did nothing wrong." My favorite president? On July 27, 2018, after the media reported that Cohen was willing to inform investigators that Donald Trump Jr. told his father about the June 9, 2016 meeting to get dirt on Hillary Clinton, the president tweeted, "So the fake news doesn't waste my time with dumb questions. No, I did not know of a meeting with my son Don Jr. Sounds to me like someone is trying to make up stories in order to get himself out of an unrelated jam. Taxi cabs, maybe? He even retained Bill and Crooked Hillary's lawyer. Gee, I wonder if they helped him make the choice." On August 21st, 2018, Cohen pleaded guilty in the Southern District of New York to 8 felony charges, including 2 counts of campaign finance violations based on the payments he made during the final weeks of the campaign to women who said they had affairs with the president. During the plea hearing, Cohen stated that he had worked at the direction of the candidate in making those payments. The next day, the president contrasted Cohen's cooperation with Manafort's refusal to cooperate, tweeting, "I feel very badly for Paul Manafort and his wonderful family. Justice took a 12-year-old track case, amongst other things, applied tremendous pressure on him, and unlike Michael Cohen, he refused to make up stories in order to get a deal. Such respect for a brave man." On September 17, 2018, this office submitted written questions to the president that included questions about the Trump Tower Moscow project and attached Cohen's written statement to Congress and the letter of intent signed by the president. Among other issues, the questions asked the president to describe the timing and substances of discussions he had with Cohen about the project, whether they discussed a potential trip to Russia, and whether the president at any time directed or suggested that discussions about the Trump Moscow project should cease, whether the president was informed at any time that the project had been abandoned. On November 20th, 2018, the president submitted written responses and did not answer those questions about the Trump Tower Moscow directly, and did not provide any information about the timing of the candidate's discussion with Trump about the project, discussion with Cohen about the project, and whether he participated in any discussions about the project being abandoned or no longer pursued. Instead, the president's answer stated in a relevant part, "I had few conversations with Mr. Cohen on this subject. As I recall, they were brief, and they were not memorable. I was not enthused about the proposal, and I do not recall any discussion of travel to Russia in connection with it. I do not recall discussing it with anyone else at the Trump organization, although it is possible. I do not recall being aware at any time of the communications between Mr. Cohen and Felix Sater and any Russian government official regarding the letter of intent." On November 29, 2018, Cohen pleaded guilty to making false statements to Congress based on his statements about the Trump Tower Moscow project. In a plea agreement with this office, Cohen agreed to provide truthful information regarding any and all matters as to which this office deems relevant. Later on November 29th, after Cohen's guilty plea had become public, the president spoke to reporters about the Trump Tower. He spoke to reporters about the Trump Tower Moscow project, saying, "I decided not to do the project. I decided ultimately not to do it. There would have been nothing wrong if I did do it. If I did do it, there would have been nothing wrong. That was my business. It was an option that I decided not to do. I decided not to do it. The primary reason I was focused on running for president, I was running my business while I was campaigning. There was a good chance I wouldn't have won, in which case I would have gone back into the business. Why should I lose lots of opportunities?" The president also said that Cohen was a quote-unquote weak person. Oh no, quote, a weak person. And by being weak, unlike other people that you watch, he is a weak person. And what he's trying to do is get a reduced sentence. So he's lying about a project that everybody knew about. The president also brought up Cohen's written submission to Congress regarding the Trump Tower Moscow project. So here's the story. Go back and look at the paper that Michael Cohen wrote before he testified in the House and before Senate. He talked about his position. The president added, even if Cohen was right, it doesn't matter because I was allowed to do whatever I wanted during the campaign. In light of the president's public statements following Cohen's guilty plea, and he decided not to do the project, this office again His office again sought information from the president about whether he participated in any discussions about the project being abandoned or no longer pursued, including when he decided not to do the project, who he spoke to about that decision, and what motivated his decision. The decision. That's not bad. That was close. The office also again asked for the timing of the president's discussions with Cohen about the Trump Tower in Moscow and asked him to specify what period of the campaign he was involved in discussions concerning the project. In response, the president's personal counsel declined. In response, the president's personal counsel declined to provide additional information from the president and stated that the president has fully answered the questions at issue. In the weeks following Cohen's plea and agreement to provide assistance to this office, the president repeatedly implied that Cohen's family members were guilty of crimes. On December 3rd, 2018, after Cohen had filed his sentencing memorandum, the president tweeted, "Michael Cohen asked judge for no prison time. You mean he can do all of the terrible, unrelated to Trump things that having to do with fraud, big loans, taxes, etc., and not serve a long prison term? He makes up stories to get a great and already reduced deal for himself, and he gets his wife and father-in-law who has the money off scot-free. He lied for this outcome and should, in my opinion, serve a full and complete sentence." And then there's like harm to ongoing matter. But on December 12th, 2018, Cohen was sentenced to 3 years of imprisonment. The next day, the president sent a series of tweets that said, "I never directed Michael Cohen to break the law. Those charges were just agreed by him in order to embarrass the president and get a much reduced prison sentence," which he did, including the fact that his family was temporarily left off the hook. As a lawyer, Michael has great liability to me. On December 16, 2018, the president tweeted, remember, Michael Cohen only became a rat after the FBI did something which was absolutely unthinkable and unheard of until the witch hunt was illegally started. They broke into an attorney's office. Why didn't they break into the DNC to get the server or Crickett's office? Huh? In January 2019, after the media reported that Cohen would provide public testimony in a congressional hearing, the president made additional public comments suggesting that Cohen's what? Cohen's family members had committed crimes. In an interview on Fox on January 12, 2019, the president was asked whether he was worried about Cohen's testimony and responded. In order to get his sentence reduced, Cohen says, I have an idea. I'll give you some information on the president. Well, there is no information, but he should give information maybe on his father-in-law, because that's the one that people want to look at, because where does that money? That's the money in the family. I guess he didn't want to talk about his father-in-law, so he's trying to get his sentence reduced, so it's pretty sad. You know, it's weak and it's very sad to watch a thing like that. On January 18, 2019, the president tweeted, Kevin Corky, Fox News, don't forget Michael Cohen has already been convicted of perjury and fraud, and as recently as this week, the Wall Street Journal is suggesting he may have stolen tens of thousands of dollars lying to reduce his jail time. Watch father-in-law. On January 23rd, 2019, Cohen postponed his congressional testimony citing threats against his family. The next day, the president tweeted, so interesting, the bad lawyer Michael Cohen, who sadly will not be testifying before Congress, is using the lawyer of crooked Hillary Clinton to represent him. Gee, how did that happen? Also in January 2019, Giuliani gave press interviews that appeared to confirm Cohen's account that the Trump organization pursued the Trump Tower Moscow project well past January 2016. Giuliani stated that it's our understanding that discussions about the Trump Moscow project went on throughout 2016. Weren't a lot of them, but there were conversations. Can't be sure of the exact date, but the president can remember having conversations with him about it. The president also remembers, could be up to as far as October, November. In an interview with the New York Times, Giuliani quoted the president as saying that the discussions regarding the Trump Tower in Moscow were going on from the day I announced to the day I won. On January 21st, 2019, Giuliani issued a statement that said, my recent statements about discussions during the 2016 campaign between Michael Cohen and candidate Donald Trump about a potential Trump Moscow project were hypothetical and not based on conversations I had with the president. That's a mouthful. Analysis. Let's pause for a minute before we jump into the analysis. Donald Trump ignores me and I don't know why. Everything the Trumpster hates rolled up into one guy. I'm sleepy and I'm nasty and I'm shady too, but not recused like Sessions. Was his name Magoo? Just like crooked Hillary or maybe lying Chuck. But no matter what I try, Don don't give a fuck. But I ain't no nervous Nancy or no sleazy Adam Schiff. Someone tell me how to get this ass to give a shit. for higher taxes and I'm all for higher crime. Think cheating Obama did the job just mighty fine. I like Crazy Bernie, I like Pocahontas too. Just like Dickie Durbin, I ain't your mama's fool. Donald Trump ignores me and I don't know why. I'm everything the Trumpster hates rolled up into one guy. Lying, weak and heartless, slimeball slippery, sanctimonious, here for all to see.